Our second presentation is going to be about how to advance pavement preservation through certifications. And we have two speakers for this presentation. Our first speaker is Larry Galehouse, and really he doesn't need very much introduction for most of us. Most of us know him. I mean, he has been a true champion for pavement preservation for many years, and he's a great mentor of many of us in pavement preservation, including me. But Larry is the founding director of the National Center for Pavement Preservation and CPP. He didn't put it in here, but it has been in business really for 12 years and has advanced pavement preservation for many, many years. So the National Center for Pavement Preservation is located in Michigan State University in East Lansing, Michigan. In addition to being a national repository for pavement preservation knowledge and technology, the NCCP is the home of the AASHTO TSP2. Who doesn't know what that is the Transportation System Preservation Technical Services Program, and for both pavement preservation and bridge preservation. So our second speaker is Rex Eberly. He is the director of global sales for Burkamp Incorporated and the secretary of ISSA, the International Slurry Surfacing Association. He has been in the slurry seal and microsurfacing business since 1983 and has held multiple positions in the contracting companies. But he has been instrumental in leading the industry effort to institutionalize pavement preservation treatment certification. So please welcome our two speakers.
Well, good morning, and thanks for taking the time to stop by and listen to this presentation, because there's many questions about where we are with certification, where we're going to go, and why do we even need it. And I think the reason we need it is pretty simple, because I think everybody in this room at one time or another has seen a bad pavement preservation project. And you can have 10 good ones, but you have that one disaster, and that can cause an agency to rethink whether or not they ever want to do that treatment again. And we've had many treatments out there where there's actually been a moratorium put on those treatments because they failed miserably, and the agency is embarrassed. And so what we're trying to do here is to really raise the bar, because as all of you know, preservation is becoming more and more and more important. Every agency is going to have to begin using preservation, because if we do not, and we continue down that worst first road, it's disaster ahead. So I think that we can all agree, we're all here, we all agree that preservation is really a wave of the future, and this is where we've all got to go. I want to just give you a little background on where this presentation is headed. First of all, we will do a background on the whole idea of certification, and then we're going to talk about a certification framework, and then the process as it affects the agencies. Now that's what I'll talk about. And then Rex is going to come up and he's going to talk about the contractor certification process, the company certification and decertification process, because it's not enough to just be certified, we have to maintain that certification. And if an agency finds a company not measuring up to the standards that were set, there'll be a decertification. And finally, what the cost of certification is. So that's how we're going to address this presentation. Now let's talk about the background, because we really started seeing specifications and inspection practices coming together as early as 1899. And this is the first recorded document that I found where we really got into what should an inspector look for on a construction project. And this was pretty comprehensive, because you can see that when you got into this, they covered all sorts of things, everything from how to lay water and sewer systems, how to lay railroad tracks, and how to actually do paving back in 1899. So it was pretty interesting to find this collection, and it goes back quite a ways. But essentially, in modern times, it began in 1974. because the certification concept was pretty much hatched, and it was taken by AASHTO and Federal Highway, the fact that we needed to put some sort of certification concept or develop a program nationally that would help us really improve the quality. And that's what this is all about, quality of our construction. So I'll read this in case you can't read it in the back. The American Association of State Highway Transportation Officials, that's AASHTO, and the Federal Highway Administration partnered, and this is back before 1974, to develop a nationally applicable, individualized, job competency-based, non-discriminatory certification system that could be interfaced with education training resources in a variety of personnel systems. So that was kind of the genesis of this whole thing. In 1976, AASHTO endorsed the program for use on a voluntary basis by state departments of highway and transportation. So that was the kickoff, 1976. Today, to receive federal funding for highway and bridge projects, a quality assurance, quality control program must be in place that ensures that qualified and certified personnel are testing and inspecting materials used on those projects. I think we all agree to that. Except what we're finding is many preservation projects seem to bypass that federal highway regulation. And inasmuch that we are going to begin, and many agencies are going to have to use preservation on the interstate and the NHS systems, we're going to have to focus on this even closer, that we're going to have to make sure this is done in a proper manner. So, moving ahead, what's our certification goal? And that is to certify personnel that have demonstrated the ability to engage in quality control, and that's the contractor. Quality acceptance, which is the agency, and then the independent assurance activities. So it's a big umbrella. We're talking about quality assurance, we're talking about quality control, we're talking about quality acceptance, and we're talking about independent assurance. 3 steps, and that will be discussed later on, right after lunch. There's a good session on quality. But this is really what we have to do. We have to move forward to advance the quality of preservation treatments. So, continue on with this background. What's the value of it? Well, first, it reflects a level of achievement. That's important, because this is not just rolling out as a rubber stamp. A person has to meet a certain level to be certified. It establishes credentials. It establishes a benchmark that this person is actually capable of doing the job. It improves the skill and knowledge. That's what we all need, because I don't know about you, I've had the experience of going out, finding an inspector and says, I don't have any idea what they're doing. Now, how can they inspect a project if they don't know what's involved with the actual type of work? It offers greater recognition from their peers, and that's particularly true in the industry side, because the companies that can meet that certification benchmark, they operate at a little higher level than those that can't. And then it demonstrates a commitment to preservation. In other words, if you're going to get serious about it, you're going to jump in the pool with both feet. But here's our conundrum. The best designs and materials are of no value without good workmanship. I repeat, we can go through the accreditation of the lab, we can have the best quality materials, we can train people to do design, but if we have not got the workmanship in the field, we're going to fail. And everybody here has seen a job that has gone south because the workmanship quality was not there. Now, agencies have an issue and contractors have an issue, and we all know what that is, and that's a rapid turnover of personnel. We have no longer have the type of people that have been in many companies, and I'm not saying all, but many companies that have been on a job for many, many years. Those days are becoming to an end. Many companies have turnovers of personnel, and the agencies have turnover of personnel. And so therefore, we've got to build up the level of competency, and that's really what this is about. We've seen the poor workmanship. Here's a chip seal that's gone south on us. I don't know if you can see that in the back, but we've all had experience with that. This is a microsurfacing that's of poor quality. I think we've seen some of those. And then this is a crack seal or a crack treatment that's totally unacceptable. You see, these are the type of jobs that just turn people off and say, we're not going to do preservation. Now, we have bad hot mix jobs, but the difference is that it takes you a few years for the most part to determine how bad that job really is. With preservation, it goes down, and we can see we have a problem pretty quickly. And so we need to correct that situation where we have competent people out on the job. So how do we do that? We do that with training. Now here is an agency perspective, because this was a survey done between July of 2005 and September of 2013, and I don't believe a lot has changed. And when you take a look at this, we said, how often is pavement preservation training offered? Now this is to the agencies. That 57% right there was infrequently. Infrequently. 7% was as needed. You get up here, 16, almost 17% was not at all. And then over here, maybe annually, about 16% said annually. So we're really not providing the type of training that's necessary to proceed with the preservation activities that we intend to do in the future. And it's a concern. So that's kind of the background. Now let's get into the framework, because the framework is somewhat important. We're looking at it in a three-step process. How do you improve the quality of preservation treatments? And the first step to this process is what Casey went through, and that's this laboratory accreditation. We've got to make sure that the people that are doing the designs are doing them properly. They're doing all of the tests that are required for the treatments. We're putting the process together in the proper way. The second step, and this is what the AASHTO TSP2 Emulsion Task Force is doing, and that is getting proper specifications into the AASHTO format. I don't know if you knew this before, but 2 years ago, you could not find one pavement preservation treatment in the AASHTO specification books. If you put those books together, literally everything that's done on the highway, you'll have 6 volumes that are about stacked together about this thick. And think about it, there wasn't one preservation treatment in that manual or those specifications. So under the TSP2 Emulsion Task Force, we've already got specifications into the AASHTO format. You'll find them for microsurfacing, you'll find them for chip seals, you'll find them on the proper emulsions. It's in there now, and there are also, I want to say, treatments that are going to be balloted by the subcommittee on materials to go into the book shortly. So they're working on literally every emulsion-based preservation treatment that will be in the AASHTO format. So that's raising the bar. You don't have to worry about how to put a spec together, because that will be your baseline. You can use what's in the AASHTO format to develop a state material specification. But the third step of this process is certification. Certification for the agency, certification for the contractor. And this is not anything unique or different, because we've done this for years for asphalt, we've done it for concrete, we've done it for soils, it's about time that since we're going to move into the forefront, take that next step, we have to make sure that the treatments are done properly. Now, there's different ways that it's done. And I'll tell you, as far as the framework, Jim Fita, who is the speaker that was supposed to be following me, he's from South Carolina with the Hurricane Matthew coming through. Jim is unable to be here. But South Carolina takes a different approach. They look at a blanket certification in a blanket certification process in South Carolina, where they give 3 days of training, you take an exam, and you're certified. We look at it differently, that each treatment has to be certified. Slurry systems have to be certified, chip seals have to be certified, crack treatments have to be certified. And why is that? Because not every agency does every treatment. We need the detail on each individual treatment. So moving ahead, the AASHTO TSP2, and that's the organization that we operate under, approved implementation of pavement preservation certification of a pavement preservation certification program in April of this year. We, the National Center for Pavement Preservation, was designated to administer the certification program. So this is how we will work it. We are under Michigan State University, so we're an independent third party. In order for the certification process to be considered valid, it must involve an independent assessment by a third party. We're that third party. And this is not for profit. We are a non-for-profit organization. We cannot make a profit under the university requirements. So how do we move forward with this? The recipe for success is certification of both the agency and the contractor employees, because that's key to develop high quality treatments. It's working together. It doesn't do any good if one is certified and the other is not certified. Certification is granted through an exam. It's not a give me process. The examination is closed book, closed notes. It's based on what you have learned upstairs. It is based on your ability to pass that exam, and that is the assessment. It's not related any way, shape, or form to pre-qualification. It's a totally separate process. It's a voluntary program. Agencies can select it if they choose to, but if they select to do so, then that's totally up to them, and they can require however they want. They can require the contractors to be certified. They can require their own personnel to be certified. Currently, certification is offered for the slurry systems, chip seals and fog seals, and crack treatment. When we talk about slurry systems, we're talking about microsurfacing slurry seal and polymer modified slurry seal. That's currently what's being done. So, you're not going to walk in and just take the exam without being prepared. There's a few people in the room that have taken the examination. It's not a piece of cake. We recommend, highly recommend, and a prerequisite, you take the ISSA online training. It's free, but it's highly effective. Also, the TC3, that is the AASHTO Program Transportation Core Curriculum Council. They offer training, but that training requires membership. There is a fee to take that training, and so that may set some people back. But I will tell you that the ISSA training that is free is highly effective. That way it prepares somebody to come in and take the examination. Now, what is covered in the examination? And this is pretty much consistent across the board. First, project selection. Because if we pick a pile of rubble to put a treatment on, it's going to fail. And so that is important. We've got to understand project selection. Second thing is materials, because materials are key to this whole process. Design, equipment, construction, and we're going back to quality assurance. So those are the 6 areas that we concentrate with this certification examination. So, what's the step? Well, next thing we do is before the examination, there is a review. It's an optional review session offered prior to each examination. It's offered by an expert in the field. Normally, this is an agent or an industry person that does not have any type of anything to gain, you might say. In other words, they're coming into an area that is not their workplace. So they may be, if you're giving an exam in Tennessee, this person may come out of Kansas. If you're giving an exam in Kansas, they could be coming out of New York. So they have nothing to gain to give the training other than to convey the knowledge that they have themselves. And so that's how this is going to work. Now, the individual that does the training does not train for the examination. And that is a big difference. In other words, they're going to answer questions, they're going to provide an overview, but they do not train for the examination. So it's not a give me. It's to raise the bar. So, who in the agency do we recommend that would get the training, and what's the benefit to the agency? Well, obviously we heard over the last few days that the biggest investment that an agency has is in their pavements. That's where your investment is. And so this will ensure that future investments in preservation treatments will be properly designed, constructed, and that the treatment will perform as intended. The certified people in the agency will serve as the agency's technical experts on that particular treatment. They'll be the go-to people. Now, when I talk about agency personnel, this would include consultants that are under contract with the agency to do the inspection, because it doesn't do any good to pay the money out for a consultant to go out, sit in their vehicle, and watch a process go down the road that they know nothing about. That's a recipe for disaster. So, again, who should be involved in this process? At least one senior level inspector and designer from each district, region, or division, however the nomenclature is for that department. One specialist from headquarters, somebody that's involved with preservation. And then, as I said, an outside consultant, if they're providing the consulting services for that agency. We highly recommend that they are also certified. I'll go back and tell you again, it's a voluntary program. So agencies can pick it, they can select it or choose not to select it. It's up to them. If they have people that are certified, the certification is valid for 3 years. The examination consists of 50 multiple choice questions. The focus is on the fundamental treatment components and inspection points that the agency personnel would have to know. And in order to be certified, a person has to pass with a score of 70% or better. Personnel that are passing the exam will be put into a certification database. It's accessible through the AASHTO TSP2 program. It's out there. Their name and the date of the certification will be listed, and also they receive, it's almost like a credit card. They can carry this around in a wallet. It's a very durable card that shows that they are certified for the particular treatment. So the particular treatment in this case is slurry systems. Another one may say chip seals. Another one may say crack treatment. But the idea is that you will be able to see that certification. Same thing for the contractor. They'll be able to pull out a card and say, yeah, I'm certified. But that's how that will work. And so with that part, I want to talk I want to pass it over to Rex because Rex is going to talk about the contractor side.
Good morning. Really appreciate all of you coming in. I appreciate the work that Larry and his group have put into this certification, and I appreciate the work that has been done by many of our volunteers with ISSA to get this moving along. So ISSA is a nonprofit association that tries to promote, educate, and build success for slurry systems, which is microsurfacing, slurry seal. We also use chip sealing and crack treatments. This certification process has been reviewed and approved by our board of directors, and we've worked hard to make it a process that works well for the agency, works well for the contractor, has some teeth, so it means something, and is going to do what it takes to get better quality work out on the road. One thing that we wanted to do with this, we wanted to make sure that the contractor was certified as an entity. And so the company is responsible for certification. They need to have a properly trained workforce, including specific employees that will be certified, and we'll go through that here in a minute. And most importantly, they need to have and use as part of this process a detailed quality control plan. And to me, that's the most important part of this whole system. The education's important, the testing is important, but what I think is best about this is we have a quality control plan that is put together by the contractor, and then the contractor and the agency both understand the plan because they've both been trained, they have certified people. And so, I've done a lot of quality control plans and taken to the pre-construction conference, and they go, do you have it? Yep, they check it, and then it's never opened again. Our hope with this certification is that quality control plan, quality management plan is used daily on the project. Contractor company is certified for 1 year. Annual renewal is required. The employees are certified for 3 years. And the required employees, we want certified, and let me back up and just say that this is written for the microsurfacing industry, so there may be some terminology that doesn't work yet for the chip seal industry and the crack treatment industry, and this is a work in progress. So, but we're looking at certifying the company superintendent or superintendents, depending on the size of the company, or a company trainer, depending on how a company's set up. Anyway, they need a top-level person in management whose responsibility is to manage the crews that are going to be doing this work as a certified contractor. They need the foreman on the job, needs to be certified, and the machine operator on a microsurfacing or slurry crew, the operator that's mixing the materials, needs to be certified. And I think on a chip seal job and a crack treatment job, I think we're still working on, is that the distributor operator? Is it both the distributor operator and the chip spreader? And Larry and I need to work through that as we go forward. So the renewal process is, it's going to have a current listing of field employees who are certified at the time of the submission. It's going to have confirmation of the critical experience of the superintendent. We'd like them to have 3 years of experience in pavement preservation. If we're designating a trainer instead of a superintendent, then that would be 3 years experience as well. The crew foreman, 2 years of experience, and the machine operator needs 2 years of experience. And that doesn't mean that they have to be an operator for 2 years. It means they need to have been in the field for 2 years and been part of a crew, so they have some experience. We also want the crew, the paving crew, to have some education as well. It doesn't have to be the entire crew. I believe that we're kind of leaving this up to the individual contractor, but the intent is that a majority of the paving crew, the folks on the back of the box, the people running the machines, a majority of them have gone through some sort of training. And that training will include the ISSA web-based training and on-the-job training. And we expect that the individual contractors will put how they plan to keep trained employees on the job. That will be part of the quality control plan. One of the most important parts of this is the submission of the company's quality control plan for review and approval. And that will be approved by an ISSA designated evaluator. We won't know it'll be somebody that's out of that contractor's area. They will not know who the contractor is when they review the plan. And we just want to make sure that this plan tells it defines the expected results that the contractor is going to receive. It describes how they're going to get those results, and more importantly, it describes what they're going to do if there is a problem on the project. And so we want this to be a working document that goes to the pre-construction conference, is opened up on the project, and because the inspector's trained, because the lab personnel are trained, because the people in the office of the contractor and the office of the agency all are trained, that we're going to use this document and it's going to work well to create a quality project every time. It's really useful so that if the contractor says that we're going to test our materials once a day, and we're going to follow these principles, and we're going to have this kind of spreader box, and the state agency looks at that, and then the contractor is not testing the material, is not using that spreader box, is doing something completely different than what's in the quality control plan, they can go, stop. This isn't what we agreed to. This isn't what you told me you were going to do. And that's really what this process is all about. So it'll include quality control testing. Obviously, each state may have different specifications, and so the quality control plan may just say, I'm going to use Tennessee specification and follow those testing requirements, or it may say, we're going to follow Tennessee, but we're going to go above and beyond that. It's how the contractor wants to write it. So, but it'll have the list of materials to be tested, the tests that'll be conducted, location of sampling, all of that will be in the quality control plan. It'll talk about the mix design. It'll say that the mix design will be done by an accredited lab. It will say that it'll list the tests that'll be done on the mix design, and it'll be the verification procedures that the contractor will use to make sure that his mix meets the mix design. And then inspection and control procedures for the contractor. How are they going to view the project to begin with? How are they going to make sure that the road is clean, it's been patched correctly, that the road is ready for surfacing? How are they going to do that? How are they going to pull onto the job? When are they going to calibrate? Who's going to calibrate? How calibration is going to work? And then the production phase. So it should lay out exactly how that contractor is going to build their job. And so the state agency and the contractor are both on the same page. And that'll describe what records are to be maintained. So certification, the training and testing portion of certification for the individual contractors will be valid for 3 years. That certification is portable. So contractor works for, or an employee works for contractor A and is certified. If he leaves that contractor, he carries that card with him or her and goes to his next job and is still certified. The examination consists of 80 questions. It focuses on pivotal knowledge of what this person needs to know to be able to produce a quality microsurfacing or chip seal or crack treatment project. And a passing score is 70% or better. This test is not easy. It cannot be, I guess someone could watch the web-based training, sit through the training session and pass the test without any knowledge, but it would be very difficult to do that. So this test it's a good solid test of knowledge. So we ask that there's a certified superintendent or trainer that is management level in the company. We don't want that. We want them to oversee no more than direct oversee, no more than 3 projects at a time. Reviews the project quality control plan with all the crew members, witnesses the equipment calibration and test strip placement if required, and ensures the certification documentation is available prior to beginning work. So this is, again, a management level person in the corporation. The foreman responsibilities is he's managing 1 project at a time. He's in control of the project. He makes certain that the quality control plan is carried out. He witnesses the calibration, performs the calibration and the test strip placement, and ensures the documentation is done on a daily basis, whatever's required in the quality control plan. And then the certified operator is just there. He's trained. He's making sure that what he does on the back of that machine or on that equipment is putting the correct treatment, the correct quality materials on the road as designed in the quality plan. So, contractor applies, has his quality control plan checked, has the employees trained and tested. So their name is entered in the database at NCPP. They're given a plaque for a year that says we're a certified company. The employee names are put into the database, so an agency can check, yes, this person is certified. They do have if they don't have their card with them, we can go online and still check to see these people are certified. And that gives the agency the knowledge that this contractor is actually doing what they say they're doing. Now, in order to have a certification program, there has to be some teeth in it. And so a contractor could be decertified. Now, it doesn't mean if a contractor has a bad job or has a mistake that they're going to have their certification pulled. All contractors, all types of construction treatments have problems. But if a contractor falsifies documentation, if they don't follow their quality control plan, if they're not following the rules of the certification, they can have their certification pulled. And is Larry still in here?
Right here.
Oh, there you are. I'm sorry, I went and looked right over. I don't know if we've yet got a solid plan for how that's going to work.
The one important part is it has to be a certified agency to decertify.
Yes, right,
Yeah.
right. So they're not gonna, if they're working on a project for a city, that city can't complain and have that certification pulled because they're not a certified city or state or whatever. So the cost, we've tried to keep it, you know, it's as Larry said, it's cost only. There's no profit in this. The ISSA trainers are doing it at basically at transportation costs just to make that up. They're not being paid. So the fees are as low as we can make them. State and local agency is $200. Consultant $325 for the exam fee, contractor employee $325, and the exam retake, if they fail and want to come back, it's $200. And those fees cover the transportation costs of the trainer, they cover all the databases that go through, they cover the cards, the plaques, the whole thing. And then the certification annual renewal for a contractor is $1,250 per treatment category. As we go through, again, this is a work in progress. I expect some things to change as we move forward. But the key is that the agency is certified, the agency is trained, they know more what a contractor should do to do a quality job. We know that the employees on the job are trained, they've taken a test, they're certified, and the two groups can now talk together using the same language. Each knows what the other one should be doing, and we should get higher quality projects for our agencies. While the young lady standing up, I'm going to get the hook. Real quick, ISSA Slurry Systems Workshop in January is a great place to send folks. They can get certified there, and it's 4 days, 3.5 days of excellent training and information. So you can check www.slurry.org and get information on that. So, thank you.
Thank you.